Peter Mentzel is a senior fellow at the Liberty Fund in Indianapolis. And Peter, can you tell a little bit about how Liberty Fund was started and what its mission is?
Well, I'd be happy to, Alan. Thanks for this opportunity. Liberty Fund was founded in 1960 by an Indiana businessman and attorney named Pierre F. Goodrich. And Mr. Goodrich was a very interesting person. He was involved in many different business ventures, banking. He had a successful legal practice. He was interesting largely because he was interested in so many things. He was interested in science. He was interested in the different technologies involved in his businesses. He loved music. He played the violin. He was an authority on German Moselle wine. He had all sorts of really varied kinds of interests. But his main intellectual interest was in the question of individual human freedom. And he was interested in really all aspects of this question, about what the origins of human freedom were, about why it was important, about whether it was an end in itself or a means to some other kind of ends. One of the things that was also noteworthy about him and this interest in human freedom was that not only was he interested in the question of individual human liberty, but he wanted other people to be interested in this as well. And I think that that was because he believed that by keeping the question of human liberty alive as an exciting intellectual challenge, that was really the best way to safeguard the project of individual human freedom.
So what does the Liberty Fund do in order to keep the question of human liberty alive?
Well, we operate two programs currently. One is our publishing program. We currently publish around 20 new titles every year. These really are cover a wide range of subjects that reflect Mr. Goodrich's own varied interests. We publish a lot in economics, a lot in philosophy. We have a whole series on natural law philosophy. We have the collected works of Ludwig von Mises, Friedrich Hayek, John Stuart Mill. We've just come out with a brand new edition, a bilingual facing page French and English edition of Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America. That's a really beautifully produced brand new edition, a new translation with a lot of new material in it. That gives you an idea of the kinds of hard copy things that we have in our publishing program.
I just wanted to mention, for those of us who still like books made out of paper, these are beautifully produced editions of books. They are really top quality.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I agree. They're produced to very, very high standards.
You also have some online projects as well.
We do. We have a very active presence on the World Wide Web. Our URL is www.libertyfund.org, and I'd encourage anybody to go to that site. One of the things you'll find there is a link to our online Library of Liberty, and also a link to our Library of Economics and Liberty. And between the two of those, one will find about 2,000 titles. And these are fully searchable texts, fully searchable, downloadable texts available in PDF or HTML formats. It's a wonderful research tool. So you should visit our award-winning website to take a look at those electronic publication resources. The other program we operate to try to honor Mr. Goodrich's vision is our conference program. And we currently hold about 100 conferences a year in North and South America and in Europe. And like our publishing program, I like to think that these conferences reflect Mr. Goodrich's own really the wide scope of his interests, and especially the way that he reflected the the variety of ways in which he wanted to explore the question of human liberty. So a lot of these conferences are on economics, economic freedom. We also do a lot on philosophy, on literature, religion, and law.
In looking at the schedule, I was struck at how much there was that reflected liberty, and this, I think, has to do with the cultural, the importance of the culture in order to promote human liberty.
Yes, that's actually an interesting point, because one of the things that one will find on our website is an interactive tour of the Goodrich Seminar Room. This is an actual room that's located in the library in Wabash College in Crawfordsville, Indiana. And along the walls of this, Mr. Goodrich designed this room. Along the walls of the room is faced in Indiana limestone, I believe. And along the walls of the room, one will find the names of authors, occasionally of books or other intellectual products along the walls. And these go all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia. And it reflected, I think, Mr. Goodrich's interest in looking for, in exploring human freedom, not just in what we might think of in the works of the Western classics or the Western canon, but really in ancient texts, in Islamic literature, Islamic philosophy, Indic and Chinese philosophy, and in other sources like those. So he was actually very keen to look for ways in which other cultures and civilizations have tried to grapple with the problem of individual human freedom and human liberty. And one thing that I've always thought was very interesting about Mr. Goodrich's project is that it seems as though, and this is my own opinion, not the official opinion of Liberty Fund, but it seems to me that he actually believed that that the interest in human freedom, or that human freedom was a project or an impulse that actually transcended any particular time or place or culture, that it reflected something intrinsic about being a human being. And I think that that's reflected in his own really very wide, exceptionally wide variety of materials he investigated over the course of his life.
Well, Peter Mentzel, I want to thank you for participating in the